There was a time in my life when I thought I had everything under control. I felt untouchable, like the path ahead was clear and paved with guaranteed success. I had the plan, the energy, and the ambition. From the outside, things looked perfectly normal. People saw me smiling, going to work, and living my life just like anyone else. They saw the mask I wore every day, a mask of competence and stability. But what they didn't see were the battles I was fighting behind closed doors, the sleepless nights, the constant anxiety, and that nagging feeling deep in my gut that the ground was shifting beneath me. There were moments when I questioned everything, my future, my purpose, my decisions. Every choice I had ever made, even the ones I once felt proud of, felt like a potential mistake. I was lost in my own head. I wondered if I'd ever recover from the setbacks I faced. It felt like I was sinking into a deep, dark ocean, and I didn't know if I had the strength left to swim back to the surface. The pressure was immense. This is the story of how I almost lost everything and what I learned from it. This isn't just a story about loss. It's a story of discovery, of finding what remains when the world falls away. If you've ever felt like your life was falling apart, or if you're in the middle of that storm right now, this story is for you. I want you to know that there is a way through the darkness, even when you can't see the light. Sometimes the hardest part is just admitting that you're struggling, but that admission is the first step towards something new. Life doesn't usually collapse all at once. It's rarely a single catastrophic event that brings everything down in a moment. Instead, it's a slow, quiet erosion. It happens one problem at a time, a small crack in the foundation that you think you can just ignore for now. You tell yourself it's minor, that you'll fix it later when you have more time. Then comes one disappointment, a project that fails, a relationship that begins to strain, or a goal that slowly slips through your fingers. You convince yourself it's just a rough patch, that it's fine. And then, one bad decision. We all make them. But sometimes, those decisions start to chain together, each one reacting to the last, leading you further and further away from where you intended to be. Then, the unexpected setback, the thing you never saw coming, the medical bill, the job loss, the sudden change in circumstances that leaves you reeling and wondering how it all went wrong so fast. At first, you try to maintain the optimism. You keep pushing, telling yourself everything will work out. But then another problem appears, then another, and the weight starts to feel unbearable. Before you realize it, you're carrying more weight than you ever imagined possible. The burden becomes your identity. You forget what it feels like to be light, to be free, to be happy. I found myself completely overwhelmed by stress, uncertainty, and fear. It was a weight that lived in my chest every single day, making every breath and every step feel like a monumental chore. I couldn't see the finish line anymore. The goals I once had seemed like ancient history, replaced by the immediate, desperate need to just survive the next 24 hours. I was lost. Every day felt like survival. I was running on fumes, reacting to the world instead of acting on it. I was losing my grip on the person I wanted to be, and I didn't know how to stop the slide. When the noise of life gets too loud, sometimes you have to lose everything just to hear your own heart again. There comes a moment when you have to face reality. You can only run from the truth for so long before it finally catches up to you and forces you to stop and look at the wreckage. No more pretending. No more telling everyone you're fine when you're clearly not. The mask finally cracks wide open, and you have to see what's actually underneath. It's terrifying, but it's necessary. No more hiding. You realize that the only way out is straight through the center of the storm. You have to stand in the wreckage of your choices and own every single consequence. No more excuses. Just you and the truth. It's a lonely, cold place, but it's also the only honest place you've been in a very long time. I had reached that point where there was nowhere else to go but up. I asked myself difficult questions, questions that didn't have easy answers. Questions that cut straight through my ego and into the very heart of why I was here in the first place. I had to be honest. How did I get here? I had to trace back every step, every small compromise, and every moment of neglect that led to this massive collapse. I had to take full responsibility for my life. What could I have done differently? It's easy to play the what if game, but looking back with total honesty was necessary to understand the patterns that were holding me back from my potential. Would I ever recover? In the middle of the storm, it's hard to imagine that the sun will ever shine again. The doubt was almost as heavy as the loss itself, a constant whisper that it was too late. Those questions weren't easy to answer. They were painful and deeply uncomfortable, but they forced me to grow in ways that comfort and success never could. Pain is a powerful catalyst for change. Sometimes your greatest breakthrough begins with your greatest breakdown. The collapse of the old broken structure is what finally makes room for the new, stronger one to be built. Rebuilding is not about returning to who you were, but about becoming who you were meant to be all along. Recovery didn't happen overnight. It wasn't a sudden epiphany or a magic wand that fixed everything. It was a slow, grueling, and often painful process of reconstruction, one piece at a time. It happened one decision at a time. Deciding to get out of bed when I wanted to hide, deciding to make that hard call, deciding to try one more time when every voice in my head said, just give up. One good habit, small wins that started to stack up. I learned that I couldn't fix the whole problem at once, but I could fix this one moment, and then the next, and then the one after that. One conversation, reaching out to someone and being honest about my struggles. I finally realized that keeping it all locked inside was part of what was destroying me from the inside out. One step forward. It didn't have to be a giant leap, it just had to be in the right direction. Every small movement away from the wreckage of the past was a victory worth celebrating. Some days I felt like giving up. The progress felt so slow that it was almost invisible. I had to learn to trust the process even when I couldn't see any immediate results. I had to keep the faith. Other days, I made progress, moments of clarity and strength that reminded me of who I truly was. Those moments were the fuel that kept me going through the long, dark days of rebuilding. The important thing was that I simply kept moving. Stagnation is the enemy of recovery. Even when I was just crawling, I was at least moving away from the wreckage and toward a new horizon. I began rebuilding my confidence. It wasn't the arrogant, hollow confidence I had before, but a quiet, tempered resilience born out of surviving the fire. I knew what I was capable of now. I learned to stop focusing on what I'd lost and start focusing on what I could still build. You can't rebuild a house while you're still staring at the ashes of the old one. Look forward. The most important journey you will ever take is the one that leads you back to yourself. Losing almost everything taught me lessons that success never could. Success is often a poor teacher. Failure, however, is a master class in the reality of life and character. I learned that money can disappear in an instant. It's a tool, not a foundation. If your entire self-worth is tied to your net worth, you are always just one crisis away from a total collapse. Opportunities can disappear. The world is constantly changing, and what works today might not work tomorrow. You have to be adaptable and resilient, not just capable in one specific thing. Relationships can change. People come and go. Some people are there for the season of success, but only a precious few stay for the season of struggle. Treasure those people who stay. But your character is what carries you through the difficult times. When everything else is stripped away, who you are at your very core is all that remains. Build that core with integrity. I also learned that asking for help isn't a sign of weakness, it's a sign of wisdom. We are taught to be self-reliant, but true strength is knowing exactly when you've reached your limit and needing a hand. No one succeeds entirely alone. Everyone needs a support system, whether it's a friend, a mentor, or a professional. We all need someone to help us see the things we can't see about ourselves. Most importantly, I discovered hope. Real hope. Not the wishful thinking kind, but the I've seen the absolute worst and I'm still standing kind of hope. That hope is indestructible and powerful. Hope is what keeps you moving when everything else in the world says stop. It is the fuel for the long journey back from the lowest point. It is the light at the end of the darkest tunnel. Hope is not the conviction that something will turn out well, but the certainty that something makes sense regardless of how it turns out. Starting over can feel incredibly intimidating. It can feel like a step back, like you've wasted years of your life, but starting over is actually an opportunity to finally do it right. It gives you the opportunity to build something far stronger than before. You aren't starting from scratch, you're starting from experience. And that experience makes all the difference in the world. Every setback became a vital lesson. I stopped asking, why is this happening to me? And started asking, what is this teaching me? That simple shift in perspective changed everything for me. Every mistake became valuable experience. The scars of the past are the maps for the future. I know exactly where the traps are now because I've already fallen into them and survived. Every challenge made me stronger. Like a muscle that has to be torn to grow, my spirit was stretched to its absolute limit so that it could expand into something far greater than I ever imagined. I finally realized that I hadn't lost everything. The things I lost were just things. The core of who I am, my spirit, my mind, my will, those things were still intact and stronger than ever. I still had my determination, my faith, my resilience. Those were my real assets. Those were the things that no market crash, bad decision, or external event could ever take away from me. And that was more than enough to begin again. It was more than enough. It was the perfect foundation for a life built on truth and integrity instead of just appearance and temporary success. I was ready. The world breaks everyone, and afterwards some are strong at the broken places. Your story isn't over yet. If you're watching this today and you feel like you're losing everything, please don't give up. I know it's hard. I know it feels like there's no way out. But listen to me. It's not the end. Your current situation is not your final destination. You are in a chapter, not the whole book. Don't judge your entire life by this one difficult season. Seasons always change, and so will this one. Keep believing, keep working, keep moving forward. Even if it's just an inch a day, keep that momentum. Don't let the darkness win by convincing you to stop. You have so much more to give. One day you'll look back and realize that what almost destroyed you actually made you stronger. You'll see the beauty in the breakdown and the incredible strength you found in the struggle. Trust that day is coming. Remember this, sometimes the greatest comeback begins with the hardest setback. Your potential for growth is often equal to the depth of your pain. Use that pain to build your future. And sometimes, almost losing everything is exactly what leads you to finding what truly matters in this life. Thank you for watching. Keep going. Your best days are still ahead of you.